Hey folks. Hey, no intro. It's me. Thanks for showing up. I hope you watched some of Michael's stream. I didn't want to drag people away from Michael's stream. But if you're not a Crow's Nest person and you're here, awesome. This is going to be pretty chill because I'm pretty tired. I'm going to take a nap after this, after I take Kiri off. But yeah, I thought I would get some work done on my Sword of Dawn. I thought about doing green work because I have so much green work to do. So much. But I was just like, no. I want to actually be working on something pretty. And green work is cool and I need to do it and all, but it's far prettier to work on the pretty mini. So I kind of wanted to look at something that I was happy with instead of all this stuff. Hey D Clearman, and of course you showed up. Hey D Clearman, we're gonna work a lot more on her hair, just as a heads up to you. Next time we get together, I'm annoyed at her hair, so that means that we're gonna be doing hair work, but not today. Not today. Today I'm thinking about touching up her skin because the shadow is wrong for the hair. Once I adjust that, and yeah, I'm gonna be continuing on this white. No, not so much on this one, Rubigon. This one needs straightening. The sword hilt is a little bit wonky. Just a little curvy. Now, I could probably correct this just by slicing it here and shaving some off. And I may do that because sometimes I just don't like to mess with boiling water. And I kind of want to get to finishing this part of the model. So yeah, if I cut it right at the place where it starts to curve, since it's a pretty straight curve, I could probably shave enough off to bring it back and it'd be just fine. Just pin it. But I could also just do the boiling water and ice water treatment. I'm kind of split on it. I'm just like, is it too much work to boil water? I'd rather do all this other work. Yeah, I'm gonna do the hair strand eventually, D. Clearman, because since I broke it off because I was annoyed at the position that I had put it in. But where is it? I was looking at it the other day, and I'm gonna need to pin it in a slightly different position to get it to stay, and then I'm going to have to do some putty work. So yes, I guess I will have to do eventually some green work on this mini. Just a tiny bit to disguise that I broke it and re-put it on. But the first time I put it on, she was just not in the right position. It went all the way over and kind of it hooked over this shoulder pad, guys, and I didn't really like that. But that means I need to correct this shadow once I figure out exactly where the hair is going to be. So I thought about just going through and getting rid of this shadow entirely for the moment. I'm debating. But yeah, so the hair strand goes, and it's cool and dynamic and all, but I just didn't have it in quite the right position. It's not really it slots into just a normal groove in the hair, so it doesn't really, it should have been further back so that it went farther down and just kind of laid across her neck out a bit, but you know what I mean. And I didn't notice that groove that it sits in, so I had it going out a lot more out toward the left, and I did not like it. But yeah, not going to mess with the hair strand today, because tired and fiddly work is not for tired people. So I thought I would continue on the white on the belt. And I thought about doing some touch-up on the face. And so on. But yeah, I still, as you can see, this is my indecision of not knowing whether I'm going to boil this piece, as I have put no paint on it. So I probably should just boil it and get it over with this week. And then I will feel like, yay, I can work on this now. But yeah, so let's see. So last time, if you'll recall, we were experimenting with a braided pattern on the belt, which I think is working very well. And it's very freehand right now. It doesn't really have shading and highlighting. So once I do it, I may need to go back in and add a bit more three-dimensionality to it. That is my thought. But yeah, the green work I wanted to do is, I'm sitting here staring at Valkyrie. So I still need to put her arm on her shield. And the other piece of green work I need to do is to make Dead Guy a butt, and to make the cloth here lay the way it should if he was sitting. Happily, his upper torso is kind of propped up, so the cloth there is just fine. And the legs aren't a big deal, but I need to alter some stuff. I did think about maybe taking this chunk entirely off for Dead Guy, because I do need to make this cloth kind of go down, so I thought about cutting off his legs entirely. that is a possibility. I may do that. Then we're getting into the heavy conversion, but that's kind of what I was expecting for the Valkyrie piece, that I would be doing some heavy conversion. So that is the other green work I need to do, and then the shield, and then I have some new Dark Sword models. There, and they need base work, and then of course we have Snake Lady. I need to finish her base work, as well. Though she's probably more of a Reaper Stream piece, but you never know. But yeah, so this is one of the... Of course, the Song of Ice and Fire stuff is very realistic and simple, but we've got Aegon the First, who's in very much the Emperor, no, we're not going to have it here, kind of pose. So, and his base is kind of nice. There's little fall leaves that are sculpted on it. And actually is a slotted base for once, which is rare for Dark Sword. But he's got this, the interesting thing about painting Aegon is going to be his armor. Because as a Targaryen, apparently they all had black scale mail armor. So it's going to be NMM black, which will be fun. Not? Yeah, fun. Yeah, something. It'll be interesting. How about that? It's probably going to be a lot easier than it looks, although I'll have to figure it out. It'll be something to figure out. And then his sister, who I also have, also has black scale mail. So yeah, that's the way that Gurm wrote the Targaryens, is pretty much that they all have this black scale armor for the royalty anyway. So yeah, otherwise he's going to be like a white blonde hair, because apparently the whole silver hair thing came from inbreeding on white blonde. They just got paler and paler, just like golden retrievers. And then of course it's the rest of the ensemble is red and black with some accents, probably silver and gold accents. And I've got some nice room to do the Targaryen coat of arms on his back, so I'll be doing probably a 3-headed dragon. Since this cape, Tom Meyer does have this tendency to sculpt a lot of folds, but the folds in this are actually very shallow, and it gives you a fairly broad space to work on. So I will probably be able to do the Targaryen 3-headed dragon on it. At least that's kind of what I'm thinking. So expect to see this one popping up on stream. I need to remove a few more mold lines. I'm trying to be very careful about it, and I've got some gouges here to clean up. And then I have to prime him and remove all the mold lines that I spot then. But as far as I can tell, there's no mold lines on the black scale mail, which is a relief and a half. All the mold lines went down the cape and the arm, which is much nicer. So yeah, so Aegon will be definitely painted on stream, I would imagine. Maybe his sisters too, we'll see. I'm probably going to be painting them kind of at the same time, because they're all the similar colors, right? They're all the 3 Targaryens who started it all. Yes, Aegon the Conqueror, Aegon the First, and his sisters Visenya and Rhaenys. And I have those 2. And these are all pre-release. There's been no pictures of them even up on Jim's site. They are fairly static poses. But they are, as Tom Meyer always does, they're very realistic, nice sculpts. So let's see if I can get this to show up. Let's see here. She's through plastic. I should take her out. So Rhaenys is supposedly the daughter who was actually fun, and the other one was the one who was actually hardcore. So Rhaenys has just got her arm. He wanted her arm out a little bit, and so he's done it in a separate piece. Let's see if I can get her in focus. So she's just nice. She's got the nice detail is she's got a little dragon on her chest. Let me see if I can get it really in focus. There we go. Yeah, I'm painting the box art, quote unquote, on these. These will be studio models for Dark Sword, so they will be done to a high standard. So yeah, there is the 3-headed Targaryen dragon actually on her chest, embroidered. And then it's tiny. It's got tiny details because Tom Meyer. But yeah, apparently she was the sister with a sense of humor, who wasn't really a fighter, but who enjoyed flying on a dragon. She's got beautiful hair sculpt. The hair sculpt on this is gorgeous. It's going to be very, very fun to paint because there's little waves in it toward the bottom, but it's got a beautiful fall, and it should be really nice. You can even see the light. Like if you look at it as it's metal, you can see exactly where the light should be in it. So that's really nice. Just a nice clean sculpt. And the fun thing for these with me is going to be trying to convey some of the personality of the model because they're so small. Because Tom Meyer sculpts so fine that it's like I want to have her have a slight smile. I want her to look kind of mischievous. And the other sister I want to be very stern, very harsh because that's her shtick. She was the warrior sister. So she is, let me see here. They're a nice little trio though. They're going to look nice. George has been waiting for these for ages, Jim says. Like, he's been really excited to, because his novella that he wrote, I think, was about these, the two sisters. There we go. So, yeah. So, Visenya, who is definitely without a sense of humor, has a much more, like, not, like, she at least has a slight smile. Visenya does not have a smile. She has more a, can I chop your head off kind of look, so that's good. And then she's got her sword as well. And she's got, as you can see, that full black scale mail armor. So I'll be doing, and she at least has like shoulder pads and a little bit of plate as well. So that'll be fun as well. Yeah, and her hair's more wavy. It's not quite as long. She's got braids. So yeah, these are, of course, Tom Meyer's faces are just tiny. So I want to kind of tackle these on stream a little bit and show you guys how to deal with that, I think. Because they are difficult to paint. They're difficult even for me to paint because they're so fine. With the eyeballs especially. He's very real scale. Oh, is she a huge Targaryen? Yeah, these are for her then, Rubigon, once they come out. So yeah, I'll be painting these over the coming like 3-4 weeks. I'm gonna wrap these babies up again. Oh, wrong girl. Put the wrong girl in the wrong... No, I didn't. I did put the right girl in the right bag. But yeah, so those are the new Dark Sword pieces that I will be working on. Yay! So yeah, you guys will always get kind of sneak previews. I actually talked to Jim about it, and he's cool with me giving you guys sneak previews of Dark Sword stuff. So that's very nice. Okay. Just gonna wrap these babies up. But yeah, so it'll be an awful lot of red and black. I was just thinking the other day, I really need to paint something green. I haven't for ages. And I used to love green. So it's like, where has all my green gone? And we'll get this lady in here. Uh-oh, I missed a base. This one. Beep. But yeah, so there we go. Put those in there. Lots of baggies to keep everything separated and organized. Yeah, all right, let's paint something. Let's paint. Let's do some white. Gonna put those over here. Oh, and the other thing I need to do green work on is my my Templar bust that I'm like just itching. I'm so close to just starting on her. Let's see here, because there's just for the most part she's amazingly clean. Hey there, fish food. Thanks for the follow. I'm like slowly starting up this afternoon. It's definitely a sleep deprivation day, but yeah. So this chica, this awesome Templar bust, she has a little bit. Let's see, where is it? There is a place where she has a little bit of wing going on that needs a little bit of fill. For the most part, she's extremely clean. Let me see if I can find the area. All right, there we go. So this one. So for the most part, like super clean. But then there's just like a little bit of mold line there. Like just a tiny bit right there on those little feathers where they come down off the winged lion. And since they're convex, since they kind of go down into each feather, they'd be really hard to file off. So really the answer is, hey Daffodil, good to see you. So really the answer is to fill with green, just a really thin skin of green. It's going to be, I think, a lot easier, and it's not going to mar the sculpt as much. I need to take that off too. But in general, this is a really, really clean sculpt. I was cleaning her the other night and getting her going, but she's got a really nice face. Got some holes there for hair pieces, and I love her hair. Her hair sculpted so well with the little ribbons in it. Oh my gosh, can't wait. So yeah, so that's the other thing I need to do, just a tiny bit of green work on. And because green is a pain to work with, and because it has a limited time that it stays good, and because you always seem to have more than you strictly need when you mix it, I do try to do all my green work at once. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all the green work. She's got just her gauntlets are even super awesome. This sculpt is just amazing. And Galapagos has put out a couple of things that I really love, but I think she's my fave. So yeah. Got to get that green work done before I can prime her. Got to prime her before I can start painting her for you guys, for the Patreon. I'm going to do a lot of different things on her. Try a lot of different stuff. Sometimes it's good to experiment on the stuff that you really love, because you love the model enough. It'll keep you motivated even when you're really tired or you're really sick of it or you've been painting it forever. So let us do some cord work. I need to touch that up. Grab my bag, my project bag. Project bag has all the different colors that I'm currently working with. This model has a lot of colors I don't normally work with. Like Akata Blue from the Pathfinder line, and the Rich Indigo that's coming out again with the Kickstarter. That's what that shirt is. And then I'm probably going to do some whites. I have pure white, which is really the only white you need ever, in my opinion. Let's see here. I think that's all for now. I think we'll touch up the shirt a bit. We'll work on that. We'll work on the belt. All these things. Because this is a coaching model, I don't want to do anything that I haven't already covered in the coaching. So pretty much this is just me catching up on the project so that I can be at the same rate as my student. When you're coaching, sometimes it's you get in this habit where it's like you don't have to paint the whole model, so which is good if you don't like the model, but I happen to really like this model. So that being the case, I'm going to use my well palette and mix up some colors. Sorry y'all having a good rest of your day. Like, I know some of you, it's approaching the dinner hour, and some of you are quite late night at this point. And some of you are afternoonish like I am. This battle of white is almost dead. There it goes. Yeah, I like the Akata Blue. I especially like it shaded with the indigo. It makes just a beautiful color. But I love blue grays and gray blues, so it's not at all surprising that I like Akata, since it is a pale grayish blue. And you guys had all better buy this Rich Indigo when I re-release it. Nobody bought it the first time, and that's why it got canceled. It needs to stay forever. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. See? You want these colors. Admit it. So Rich Indigo needs to sell, and Black Indigo needs to sell too, because, I need to be able to reorder this. Alrighty. You, Arm. Move out of the way, Arm. We're not dealing with you today. Boop. There. Sorry for the bump. And we're going to add some water like I always do. Now, how thin do I want it? I think I'm starting a little thicker. Hey, Spider-Man. Welcome. Welcome to the chat and to the stream and to the everything. I'm a little sleep deprived today, so cut me some slack. I'm Anne. It's nice to meet you all you new people. I like to see new people in the stream. Usually I talk a lot more. I'm into the education and helping people improve their painting, so I tend to kind of monologue everything. I am a little tired today, so I may be a little less talky. But right now I'm mixing up some colors because I want to touch up her shirt, and then I want to still work on this belt that we've got going on here. So the braids there, we're working on the braid. So yeah. Thanks for the subs, Scrying Eye. Awesome. I think I need only 9 more subs to open up another remote slot. And I did put up some I did put up some tier emotes. I had essentially a little dragon wing with a paintbrush across it. I had those done for my tiers. And Trasharama was really nice and got me the Painting Big logo. Tiny, like it is over on the Reaper stream that we do. So you can get that through my thing now, too, if you are not subbed to the Reaper stream. I need to get this a little bit. That is a little thick. So, yeah, I do need to go and adjust my paint consistency. I was going about 4:1 because I was using a little less paint in my wells, but I'm going to go, actually, with a bit more water. I had originally thought that in touching it up, I was going to want to... here, let me get this in focus for you guys. In touching it up, I was going to want to have it thicker, but in reality, I think I'd rather work on the blends. So, all right, cool. And for those who have not seen this bust before, although James Wapple was painting it last week, this is the Sword of Dawn from Big Child. She is a female samurai. She is awesome. It's a great bust. Last time we were on, thank you for the love, Scrying Eye. I really appreciate it. Yeah, Rich Indigo is in all of the shadows on this model, actually, guys. D. Clearman brings up a really good point, is that it's mixed with the red to create the shadows here. And it's mixed with, it's glazed over to make the shadows here on the satin ribbon around her neck. And we're going to be adding it down here as well and over here. And then it's also, as you can see, the shadows in the skin also have a touch of Rich Indigo to them. The shadow from the hair falling over the eye. Has a lot of Rich Indigo there. And of course we've got the shadows here, which if you see, it's subtly actually echoing the shape of the pauldron up here on there. So, and then there's more of a softer shadow over here because it's a different position of the arm. So this shoulder pad comes out more, so it leaves the arm more in shadow on this side. So yeah. So there we go. I remember the first sub goal we hit. Once Twitch only sends you money after you hit like $100, I think. But I have sworn to use that money to buy treats and toys for Kiri. Now some of that money may go to a sirloin steak for Kiri, which is a horribly spoiling thing to do to your dog, but that's been known to happen. But yes, Kiri's getting old, so she gets spoiled, more and more spoiled. That's the way we go. All right, cool. So let's go back and do our white. And I'm using a pretty big brush here, but it's got a really fine tip. So spoil away. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think Justin said Twitch pays out at a particular time each month. I have no idea when that is, so I guess I'll just have to watch my bank account and see. I don't know if we have quite enough. I think if once we get 50 subs, we'll be about where we need to be. But... we shall see. We shall see. So right now 50 is my goal, and I think we've got 42, which is awesome. Thank you guys, because I mean, I haven't even been streaming that long. Alrighty. Let's see if I can get my fine motor control to actually go and make this work. Fine motor control says, all right, we can do this. We can do this. Yeah, I'm going to have to go over that just a little bit. Even with how thin this white is, I mean, the thinness of the white enables it to come off the brush, but that means sometimes if you have it a little too thin, you want to go over it again. Ideally, you get that kind of sweet spot where you only need to hit the stroke one time to get those little chords, and you don't have to go over it twice. Although this is pretty good practice for brush control as well. Every time you have to paint tight detail that's repetitive, it's a really, really good exercise for brush control. I've been thinking a lot lately, because I think it was actually D. Clearman who asked me about this a long time ago, but about an exercise book for mini painters. Kind of a workbook. With exercises to help you master like the basic things, the core techniques, if you will, of mini painting. David and I watched or listened to yesterday that the TED Talk, the How to Learn Anything by Josh Kaufman. And I've been thinking a lot, because it's what I do, about how to take that and apply it to miniature painting. Because certainly you can break down miniature painting into a set of exercises and skills that you most need to do anything in the hobby. And so it seemed to me that maybe I could put together an exercise book of sorts that would help people get up to like a solid, it would probably be good enough to get you up to a solid like silver at ReaperCon. Oh, I made a little bit too much of a blorf. All right, need to remix my gray. That would be a Cata Blue and a touch of walnut. Forgot that I had to, if I was going to be doing this, I need my base color for when I screw up and make a solid block of white. I need to re-add my shading. Question, Reaper doesn't have the number 2 brushes back in stock yet. What's the difference between that and the round number 2? Number 2, you mean the flat? Scrying eye? Flat versus round? Or is it number 2? Yeah, I'm curious because I'm not sure. I don't usually deal with the Reaper large brushes at all. Because they're a bit big and they don't have as fine a tip as my Raphael here, which you can see is an extremely fine tip. They're good for base coating large models though. And the flat is extremely useful. Okay, so I'm not using a Reaper brush right now. When I do use Reaper Kolinsky brushes, I use the 05, 0/5, black handled, and I use the 10 if I can't get the 5. But those are really, the 5 is really a workhorse size. But right now I'm using a Raphael. And I also use Da Vinci. Those are my 2 go-to brush brands for doing good work. So both of them, as you can see, are Kolinsky. They say so. They are from different countries. And they are different styles of brush for sure. Here, let me get my Da Vinci in some water. They are both very long and thin, relatively speaking. They don't have a lot. They're not a really fat brush, and they come to a very, very fine tip, which is key for what you're doing. But if you were going to get Reaper, yeah, these are both number 1s. And these are the sizes that I use all the time. I don't think I would ever go up to a 2. Like I used to have a 2 and then misplaced it and haven't missed it with the Raphael. Oh, yeah. You've got it, Image. Yeah. Like, actually, the red handle synthetic number 2 flat is very useful for just quick base coating, stuff like dragon wings and dragon scales and anything big and wide open that you need to cover a lot of territory. So that's a thing. All right, let me mix up my little shadow color here, my little gray. When I'm working with a limited palette like I am here, I'm usually mixing all of my weird intermediate colors or neutrals. I'm usually trying to mix with the main colors of the model. I just think that allows all the colors to work together a little bit better. And it gives me nice complex grays when I have to use a gray. This may be a little bit light. Yeah, just a little bit more walnut. And since I'm only mixing 2 colors for this gray, as long as I get close, it's okay. It doesn't have to be an exact match. So the gray that I'm mixing is a Cata Blue plus walnut. So, and it's ending up like that. And that's the base gray for this belt. I need it to be kind of a medium gray, not as light as you'd think. Everybody, that's actually one of the biggest mistakes I see people make with white, is that they go either way too light with the shadows or they go way too dark with the shadows. And what you really want is somewhere a medium light. Like, actually, guess what? I have a color wheel. And since I have a color wheel, I have superpowers, which will enable me to figure out what value this gray is. And it looks like, if I use my little gray value scale here, I'm going to say it's between a 3 and a 4. I think it's about a 4. So yeah, it's a value 4. So that means it's a medium light. But it is definitely toward the medium. It's not a really, really light gray. Because the thing is, you want enough contrast so that you can still see the white highlights. Like if you're doing texture, like I am here, trying to suggest a texture on something, you need that darker shadow to get that contrast. or the texture just won't show up. If I had gone with like an off-white for this, it wouldn't show up at all. If the shadow or base coat was more of an off-white. A lot of people will do that. They'll say, oh, well, I want to do white leather, so I'm going to grab leather white and I'm going to highlight it with pure white. But leather white is itself an off-white. It's really, really light. And so they don't get enough contrast and everything just looks washed out. You can't really tell where the highlights or shadows are. So you go darker than you think, but I would never go below a rainy gray. Rainy gray is 9038 MSP. I used to use that to shade white with. It's more of a 5 rather than a 4 on the grayscale, but still. All right, let's go around the belt. Around the belt, here we are. Always hold the model as comfortably as you can. Keep your brush in roughly the same position. If you have to move the model to get a more comfortable brush stroke, do it. It really does make a difference because every time you paint something, you're building brush control, you're building muscle memory. So if you're moving your hand all over the place in a different position every time, it's going to be a lot harder to build that muscle memory. Yeah, I think my white needs to be a little bit thicker. My strokes are not as strong as I would like them to be out the gate. Let me get this over here and put just a little more white into my mixture. I like it to be thin so it comes off the brush in those thin strokes. But there does come a point where you need a little bit more opacity or you would like some. I somehow managed to like reduce my my dashboard off of here so I can't see how many viewers I have. Yes, I can. Just a few. That's nice. That's a good deal. I do not mind having just a few viewers. I'm going to move you guys a little bit over here. Get there. I'm just repositioning my chat. Chat, you get repositioned. There you are. Now I can see you again. Awesome. Thanks for hanging out with me. Did any of you catch Crow's Nest, the first part of it, with Nightheart Gaming? Before you came over here? On the Reaper Miniatures Twitch. Alrighty, let's get this sucker. I might want more light on this subject. Luckily, I have a light. It'll make the color skew a little bit. No, got some sleep for a change. I wish. I get sleep after this. Just a nap. Nope, I think I can only get two little cords into that one. The sculpt is pretty good around the whole thing, but not absolutely consistent. Little cords. Yeah, I was just curious as Nightheart seems to be pretty cool. Their production values for the videos seem really good for their D&D stuff. Yeah. It's always timing, right? I usually just forget because it's, even though it's at 4 Central, it's at 2 for me. Because, and that's like coming off a lunch when I'm trying to organize the rest of my day and it just inevitably will slip my mind. Or I'll be ready, these days I'm getting ready for stream. Although I have tuned into a couple of Michael's episodes and it's nice to talk to the sculptors. Because that's usually who he likes to have on. Sometimes he has one of our painters on. I do like that he is doing the guest thing. Little strands. It's hypnotic. And we want them to slant because we want to see, like, make it seem like the cords are braiding together. So we do want a little bit to follow this. I was doing little S's where I could. kind of an S shape to tuck in that end. Little tiny. And this is the kind of detail that isn't going to be immediately evident when you look at the model, right? Your eyes are going to be drawn to a whole bunch of different things. But I like putting texture in little places like that. Essentially, it's paying attention to detail so that when people do look closer, there is something for them to see that's even, a smaller detail that they didn't notice right away. I like that sort of visual Easter egg in my work, so... So I have to thank, I don't remember which of you recommended that we raid David Peterson, Mouse Guard guy, last week. But he's now on my favorites channel. I really, what a great artist he is. David Peterson, S-E-N. And he's the writer and illustrator of the Mouse Guard comic. And when he streams, he does a lot of commission work, apparently. But somebody suggested we rate him last week, and it was super cool. He seems like a super cool guy. Yeah, it is nice that Reaper... Justin, that's Justin. You can kind of thank Justin for that, I think. Justin and maybe a bit of Ed. I'm not sure how much Ed was going into individual branding when we started the Twitch. Because I know Justin was the one pushing for it for a very long time. But Justin was very much wanting to have each show have its own identity and its own kind of shtick, its own kind of thing, and its own feel. So that it wasn't just more of the same all running together. And Michael, I know, wanted to not do the Knowledge Bomb type of show because I was doing that. And it wasn't really his type of thing to do that. But yeah, so that's also the challenge of finding new content. Of course, is then you've got to find somebody that's still fits our vibe, but who's different, right? And I like Luca as an addition a lot because, very well known among the European painters, which we definitely are lacking in right now as far as representation on our Twitch channel. So, and he's a cool guy. So I'm very happy that we'll be onboarding Luca after ReaperCon. It'll be cool. Slowly we fill out our programming until you can have an entire day of Reaper. Wow, this is my hand is totally sliding the color scheme. Way warm. Let's see. No, it's partially the light too. Let me see. There we go. Now we're better. Light makes such a difference on how the camera reads the colors, but we're still a bit warm here. There we go. I think it's just because of all this blue. Luca is a blast. No filter. Yeah. So you're telling me he's Sadie Mark II?
Maybe he's just European.
Maybe he's just European and that's the way it is, David says. Yeah, good night, Scrying Eye. Have a good one. Is Michael still going over on Reaper, guys? I didn't look. I noticed they were live a bit before. Ah, game night. Have fun. And I do wanna bring some of my. I got little dots of red over there. Sadie has a long way to catch up with him. Oh, that scares me. Hey, Motor City Ray, how's it going? Just doing a little bit of touch up here. Putting on some white cords around the waist, getting those little strands on there. I feel like I need my camera closer to me though. Hold on, slide. There we go, much better. Oh, thank you. Yeah. This is of course, it's a big child sculpt, female samurai, Sword of Dawn. She's got hands, so they just aren't on right now. It's a coaching project for me, Motor City Ray. So I'm essentially, while I'm on here, I'm trying to catch up on all the things that my coachee is like done on that I have not put time in to catch up on, because I really like this model and I want to finish it. So yes, she's very nice. She's definitely a different color scheme for me. I mentioned to other people, I have a special project bag that holds the colors that I use on her, because I'm actually using very different colors than I usually use, with the exception of the rich leather and the walnut. Everything else, though, is very different than I would normally use on a project. I haven't ever done these. This is a Kata Blue from Pathfinder, shaded with Rich Indigo, which is the HD color, but will be coming back out again with the Kickstarter. But yeah, so I'm doing some touch-ups. So I've definitely gotten a little bit of red where I don't need red. Here and there, and feel like I've maybe gone a little dark with some of my shading, and I was working on the white braids here, but then I realized I was annoyed at this whole area because I got some red accidentally on this. It happens. But now that I've seen it, I cannot unsee it, which means fixing. So kind of using the Akata Blue to block over, and then I'll re-add some of my shading. Mix up my indigo. Probably should have a well that's kind of half and half these colors, but it does make a beautiful blue. Thanks for popping in, the Motor City Ray. Good to see you. Were you just over on Crow's Nest? I was asking people how it was going and if it was still running with Nightheart Gaming. Oh, cool. Yeah. Yes, Samurai is great. Samurai are great because you can do that, right? You can do some pink. Although I think people could use more pink on various fantasy models. There's plenty of female sorceresses and paladins out there who probably wouldn't be adverse to wearing a bit of pink, so.
Looks like the Reaper stream ended.
Oh, did it? Okay. Cool.
Maybe he just raided somebody else.
He probably raided somebody else. That's just fine. I can give Justin crap about it tomorrow. Maybe he was insulted that we weren't painting a Reaper model. Alright, I'm going to get that thing down. Yeah, better late than never. No, that's fine. I usually, again, Tuesday, Wednesday, around this time. I'm not always super prompt, especially if I'm... Tuesday is my day to go to the grocery store, and so if I get back late, like today, and I have to eat my lunch, I can start just a little late on Tuesdays. Wednesdays, I am bound to be a little more prompt. So I'm touching up this sleeve here. Touch, 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 touch. And I may, well, if I decide to take this blue up to where it looks much more silky, I'll actually take it up one more level of highlighting. It kind of does have the texture of silk right now. It just doesn't have the highlights. So, still debating that. Plenty of time to decide how shiny the fabric will be. Just a bit of touch up. There we go. I was on the short list, huh, JSL? That's fine. They don't have to raid me. I actually enjoy not being rated sometimes because it lets me see like what kind of numbers I get on my own. And I don't mind if we have small streams. I'm going to get some shadows up under this arm. Just kind of loading them up there because nobody's really going to see this from this angle. Especially once the arm goes on. It's going to be real hard to see that. I don't know that I can even see it from the back. Not really, although this does remind me I need to touch up this area too. See, it's like I thought. Justin doesn't like me. He doesn't love me. He's not going to raid me today. There are all sorts of deserving people who need raids. How did the, JS, how did the interview go with Nightheart? Was it fun? Was it a good episode? If you watched Crow's Nest for a while? Touch up. There we go. There we go. Very cool. Good. Excellent. Excellent. Thanks, Ray and JSL. Yeah, I wondered. It was actually, I was tempted, but I had to do my store run, so I couldn't tune in. My store run and my quick lunch. Excellent. Yeah, Michael is he's pretty good as a like a talk show host, right?
He totally does talk show. His class is very different from yours in style.
Yeah, he wanted that though. He didn't.
Yeah, it makes sense to have. Like it's cool to have somebody to sort of interview the artist and talk to the artist about what they're thinking while sculpting. But obviously, having somebody to give tips that painters can use is also a good thing.
Yeah, Michael pretty much said from the beginning that he didn't want his show to be a knowledge bomb show like mine because I was already doing that. So, and it's not really his forte. I think the hosting show where he interviews people is a great idea, especially with as many artists as we have, who, you know, we all know them, but a lot of you guys don't know them as well as we do, and so it's fun to have that kind of chatty, you know, kind of toss stuff back and forth dialogue with them. So I freehanded this before, so I'm just going to paint, I'm going to highlight this like right up to the freehand and stop. There. Just wanted to get a little more highlight on there. Excellent. All right. Let's see here. I got my braids and I was working backward, but then I realized these don't have little lines on them and I want them to. Ah, same age, so a lot of similar stories. Got it, JSL. Oh, channel and stream tags emerge? All right. Let me look. Let me make a note of that. I am always looking for you guys. You guys are always very helpful about, since I'm so new to Twitch, I don't even know like how to do anything. So let's see here. Set channel stream. Channel stream tags. Thank you very much for that suggestion, Image. I've kind of like looked through my Twitch dashboard, but I keep missing stuff. Those tags always drop off. Oh, wrapping up your first commission? Oh, that's both exciting and terrifying, Motor City, right? Yeah, right? You're questioning whether it's done. You're like, is this done enough? Are they going to like this? You know, are they going to like be disappointed in it? You know, it's all these questions. Just do the best you can. Don't sweat it. Do the best you can in the time that you have allotted so that you are getting a decent pay grade. I'm actually going to block this in a little darker, guys, so that I can come back and do my little braidlets. Little braids. And get it to look a little bit more kind of glazing over some of these darker color. All right, there we go. That's a little better. Oh, the pressure. Yes. Yeah, I don't mind adding tags each time I go live if that's something you've got to do or get you, you know, more visibility. I could do that. Now here, on these braids, we have a little more room. Just a little, though. All right, let's get in focus so you guys can see what I'm doing. I want to suggest this texture a little bit up here, but I still want to keep it pretty dark, so I might just do like one strand or two. Or make it real lightweight. and then make it darker as it goes down. Oh yeah, go lurk. I'm going for another half hour. If it's going to an amazing guy, Motor City Ray, I'm pretty sure that he's gonna be cool about it. You and I always artists always stress more about this stuff. Good artists, anyway. If you're a good artist, you stress more about this stuff than the client usually does. As long as the client has given clear direction on what they want. And sometimes it's nice to send them work in progress shots so they can get a feel for whether it's going the way they'd like it. But then there are some people who you definitely don't want to send it to till it's done. I've run into that where it's like if you send it to them before it's done, they're like disappointed in it because it's like they can't visualize it done from what's started. So I think people who are kind of not very good visualizers, some of those I've had trouble with in the past over commissions, but in general, and it really depends on how finished your work looks at any given stage. Some people's work translates far better at the later stages than at the early stages. So sometimes work in progress stuff can be fraught with peril. Still nerve-wracking. Question asked on earlier, Kaz, I'm doing a dark skin on a figure and using Mwangi. Yeah, that's the Pathfinder. That's the Pathfinder African skin tone, Kazmania. Actually, it makes a great triad with the Bones dark skin tones. So, ruddy flesh and ebony flesh. It actually is kind of the perfect color to slot in between those two. If you're looking for like a medium dark African skin tone. There's, of course, a lot of color variation in dark skin. Alright, we've got some strands going on there. Yeah, Mwangi's a nice medium brown. All of the Pathfinder skin tones are pretty good, actually. When I looked at the swatches for the first time, I was like, huh? And then once I got them mixed, I'm like, oh yeah. But they actually, Pathfinder Paizo did a good job. Whoever chose the swatches for those, for the line in general, did a really good job. One thing I do like about my own stream is that I don't have to stare at the chat as much as I do with the Reaper stream. I can actually paint a little more. Sometimes I feel like there are days on the Reaper stream where I get very little done.
Yeah, you don't make as much progress on the mini, but you answer a lot of questions, which is probably...
It's the point.
Yeah.
So... since many of you are from the Reaper stream that I do on weekday mornings from 11:30 a.m. Central onward, what models are you enjoying the most? Like, what models do you want to see me work on more? Rock Troll, Fire Giant? Do you want to see me finish Juliana? Do you want me to work more on the Duelist and finish out her NMM and get her cloth going? Like, do you have a preference? Or is there a model that I'm working on that you especially want to see me work on in the coming Reaper streams this week? We'll go back to Snake Lady once I have jungle basing. But if you, since you are here, loyal and fans, if you want to suggest which model you would like me to work on for the Reaper stream, go for it. I am all ears. And if nobody cares, I'm okay with that too. I'll just choose myself like I always do. Seems like at least one person was happy about the fire giant. Oh, okay. So NMM on anything? I do need to finish the NMM on the duelist. She's coming along nicely also, and lately it seems I kind of made a change to the way I was doing the Reaper streams. Like I used to just grab any model whether I liked it or not. Just if I thought I could demo something on it, and then I just kind of tossed it aside. But I think I'm enjoying everything much more, choosing a few models that I really like and actually finishing them. You want to see the armbands? Oh, those things are so intricate. Yeah, Mist Imp. I will. I will. Maybe I'll block them in tomorrow. Maybe I need to. They're going to be annoying. And they're bands. So, like, if I do make parts of them metal, then they need to be highlighted like cylinders and horizontally held cylinders. Complete the troll with the purple gems and everything, Cass. So Fire Giant and Troll is what I'm seeing here in NMM. Yeah, good. I'm glad you like the new format then, Image. That's what I was kind of hoping. Was that you guys would get more out of it and get more enjoyment out of it if I actually would work on these things through to completion, even though it means repetition, right? So when I go back to the duelist to do her other side of Steel NMM, it is necessarily going to be kind of a repetition of what I did on her earlier, but at the same time, you know, it's like visual practice, right? You may catch something this time that you didn't catch the last time I did these subjects. And it is more rewarding, I think, to be able to see the model progress to finished. I am very happy with Snake Lady, and I can't wait for my jungle plants to get here. Cool, come here, Michael. Thanks. I'm glad. So now as I come up here to the shadows, I am going to put my white strands in a bit, but I'm going to kind of try to minimize them, and if I feel they are getting too strong, I will grab a glaze. But I managed to keep them a little darker. I still do feel I need a pretty dark shadow falling down from under that knot. So I do think I'm going to just add a little bit more white. If you know you're going to glaze something darker, you can feel free to add a brighter highlight right at the start here. And then you know that the glaze is going to knock it down. But you can go up to bright and then knock it down if you want. If you want to make sure that that texture comes through after. Yeah, if you could master a technique after watching it once, well, then nobody would have to practice. Everybody would just watch videos and instantly know Kung Fu. There we go. All right, I'm going to grab a shadow color. Get my gray here. Mix some water with it. Well, I'm glad that you're enjoying the new format, because I'm definitely enjoying the new format more. There we go. So now I glazed in with that darker gray. Is actually just adding a little bit more walnut to the gray color that I'm starting with on these braids. And then making sure I've got, you know, make sure I've got some shadows still on the bottom of here. Want some three-dimensionality. Want those braids to kind of come out. I think that's looking pretty good. I do think I need to bring up that area a little bit here, right next to the knot. I think I got too dark. So we're kind of fine-tuning. This is the kind of futzing that I tend to do until I have the area right where I want it. I'm still a little bit annoyed about these chords here. And I still don't have strands done much up here. Yeah, I love Snake Lady. She is looking really good. I Do you guys want here let me ask a question actually. I didn't work on Snake Lady today because even though I have to build like the little waterfall, like I have to build a little rise here so that I can make kind of a stream coming through and then do a little waterfall down into a pool over here. Um would you guys be terribly bored if I did that green work on stream, or do you want to see it? Because I was feeling like, oh, more green work, everybody will be bored. But if you want to see me do that, like it's just building up more cork and doing the green and building the textures. Um, but if you do want to see that, then I can do this on stream. But if it would just be boring, yeah, I just never know. Like with green work, it's like some people find it really boring and some people find it fascinating. So boring, to be honest. Yeah, see, I knew it would be kind of a split, right, Kaz? So some people would like to see it. All right. Maybe I'll do a little bit of it on stream. Maybe I'll set it up beforehand and do a little bit of it on stream. Or maybe we need to see. The problem is I will be going back to her when I actually want to do the jungle plants and stuff on the base. So either way. All right. So Kaz would be bored, but everybody else thinks it'd be okay. That's cool, Kaz. Thank you for being honest. Because that's what I was kind of feeling. Like when I do a lot of green work on stream, I feel like I'm boring people because they really want to see how to paint, not how to do green. Well, thanks, Kaz. That's sweet to say. Yeah, I do love Snake Lady. She is really cool. I need to fix her tail. Her tail is not finished yet, and some of her metal. But yeah, I'm very happy with Snake Lady. Much happier than I thought I'd be. She was actually really fun to paint. I don't know if you know, but David actually has adopted her to be his model in his OSL class now, which is super cool. More Snake Ladies in the world. All right, there we go. And now we've got a little bit. I just wanted to put a little bit of cord texture up here on these strands in the knot. Because if you've got all this cord texture elsewhere, you've got to have it everywhere. At least a little. It's little bits of attention to detail like this that really make a model have that something extra, I think. Not just painting it flat and going. There. And I feel like I just need a little bit of reintroduction down there. There, so you can kind of cut it up. There we are. That looks like a pretty realistic shadow. And if I really wanted to bring some texture back in here, I could always thin my white down so my line was a lot more faded, and I could do it that way. I do think I've ended a little early here. You should technically go down into... This is where the sculpt is limiting me because it actually cuts off a little bit there. Maybe I can do a white glaze and suggest that it's at least a little lighter. Boop, boop, boop. Little titchy work. Little titchy work. But fun. I like the little bits of detail. I like super focusing on a single area and trying to bring in like texture and visual interest and pop the highlights. And that's why I really enjoy working on busts, is that you get so much extra room to insert those little details. Gets me very excited. Kirill was the one who opened up my eyes to like how fun texture was. I think my painting style changed significantly after his class, which is always awesome because that's what I'm looking for often is when I go to a class from a what I would call a very high-end teacher, a very high-level teacher. I'm looking for somebody to shake up my style a little bit, give me new things to work on so that then I can make those part of my style. And that class definitely fit the bill. I got less from Sergio's, but I think Sergio's class had value in a different way. I don't know. his class improved my NMM by leaps and bounds, for sure. That's not what the class was meant to do, but
Well, that was one of the topics.
it was, but he didn't cover it very much in our class at all. So most of what I learned about it was just going over and just staring at his models and taking pictures and studying them. Because he had his orcs with him, his painted models. And so I got an opportunity to just kind of stare at them for a while. And then when he did teach us the NMM, I more understood what we were trying for. He was a very good painter for making me want to punch up my contrast. It's not quite my style, but... And I came out of it, and this is never a bad thing. Hey there, Val, what's up? It's never a bad thing. I mean, if you take one of these high-end classes, if you don't get a ton out of it, that's not a bad thing either. It just means, maybe you learn the thing, but it's just not quite suits your style the way that you are right then. But it doesn't mean that it's a bad thing, because it's going to sit in the back of your head. And maybe someday you'll be, messing around and think, oh yeah, like that class I took with what's his bucket. And you'll be able to kind of have a head start at that point on something that didn't suit you, several years before, but was there then when you needed it. So, because I would say that even though Sergio's class, I didn't get as much out of his Kirill's, it was still very worthwhile to go. And I think that some of it I ended up using a little later when I was working on contrast in general. And I think I still need to work on contrast in general. So it was a good class for awareness to look at a style that was very, very different from mine. So different, in fact, that at one point during that class, I'm like, I hate it. And everybody in the class went, aw. I got to not hate it eventually. But it was very alien to me. There we go. So we have tiny braids going on. Hey, our tiny braids are almost done, actually. We got them on the front. We just need to do it on the back and work it around the side here, and we'll have tiny braids. Just in time for the end of the stream. You need like 100 times zoom for your glasses. I can do it with my 3 times. But I couldn't do it with less than 3 times, I think. Hey, Strange, how's it going? Good to see ya. We are doing ropes. We are almost done with doing these little individual texture strands on our rope. I'm just mixing up some more of a little bit of a darker gray. I think I lost some of my dark gray here. Made a bit of a blorf. Need to correct it. Little blorf right there where my strands got out of control. There we go. I'm gonna touch those up. I don't want to go too dark with them. There. Just painted your first mini. How often do I need to shake up Reaper paints? If it's been sitting for a couple days, I'd give it a shake. You don't have to give it like as good a shake, Strange, as you do like the first time you use it. You really need, I would say, probably like that. You want to hear the little click of the glass bead rattling around. And squeeze a little bit out, and if you notice clear fluid in it, just right away put your cap back on and shake it again just a little bit, and then you should be fine. But that's like for first shaking. Otherwise, when I pick up one of my paints, depending on the color, some of our bright colors, the pigment tends to settle out a little easier, like my yellows, my blues. Then I'll shake them. I'll give them a good shake, like so, and then I'll kind of squeeze a little bit out and test it and give it another little shake if I see clear fluid. But that's if they've been sitting for a few days, if I haven't used them. If it's just a day, then you can usually get away with grab, shake, you're good. I really didn't want to make people shake their arm off for these paints because Vallejos were like that, and it always irritated the bejeebus out of me. Oh, Vortex Mixer, yeah. Yeah, a lot of people like those. I have not gotten one yet. I suspect that, if I started having like big wrist trouble, that I would be likely to get one at that point. Yeah, I was sitting for weeks. Yeah, definitely give them a good shake then, and get yourself a pokey tool. A pin will do just fine if you do not have an actual Reaper pokey tool. I sometimes will use the tip of my pin vise if I'm impatient and it's near. Having fun with my little tiny stripes. Yeah, Motor City Ray, I feel that. I was just thinking about my paint box and how I ought to go through and, shake a bag every month, a different bag every month, since they're separated by hue. Although Reaper, seriously, I mean, long as you shake it every couple few years, you just want to be able to keep it from plugging, turning into a solid block. And MSP, I think, is going to take a while. I think MSP is going to thicken before the resins settle out. Still don't want to get to that point, but yeah, I do it by hue, Motor City Ray, because usually it's like, even though I have the numbers memorized, sometimes when I'm choosing a color scheme, I'm like, I want muted blue, and so I just reach for my blues and choose that way. And that's easier for me to organize them that way. Otherwise, I find that you become a victim of paint rack vision, which is maybe you guys, I don't know if Ed has ever told this story, but it was something that Brian had an idea about at a Gen Con, where he's like, I bet if the paints that are currently on the bottom of the paint rack were moved to the top of the paint rack, we would sell more. And so he did that for one paint rack at the con. We had two. He set it up traditionally, and then the other paint rack, he set it up in reverse, with the colors at the end of this SKU range up on top, and the colors at the beginning of the SKU range on the bottom. And sure enough, people bought a ton more of the colors on top. They had never seen them before, because they suffered from paint rack vision, where you just look down the first half, and then you run out of oomph. Motor City Ray, that's on my list of stuff to do for the Patreon. So, stay tuned. Stay tuned. Ideally, I want it to be by hue, saturation level, and bright darkness. Lightness, darkness. That way, finally, I will have something to point to when people have trouble choosing colors. And we can really start breaking it down. I'll start with a limited selection first, because this is going to take a while. So I'll probably start with the first, just with the Bones range or something. Yeah, I thought it would be a good special offer, sign up for the $5 tier and you get this, awesome PDF, yada yada, that kind of thing. Special offers are often the thing that gets new people to come and pledge to you. So I haven't done one since back in January. But we've been growing really nicely, which I'm really happy about, but I would like to do another one. There are a couple special offers I've got in the works, little ideas. Usually it's just new digital content that's going to take a long time to produce. And something like that hue, value, saturation thing is definitely in that, it's in that category. So then if I can use that to promote, it's just an extra. Essentially for you guys, it'll be an extra thing if you're already subbed at that level. But for people who are like at $2, they would have an incentive to go to 5 then, or that sort of thing. But I got a lot of new patrons last time I did a special offer, so. And mostly it's people who meant to patron you, but forgot you existed. That's what my experience has been. Yeah, Bones is still my favorite thing I ever did. Cool, Strange. I'm glad you finished your first mini. That's super fantastic. Oh, you bought the drag. You got the dragon, or one of the dragons. Awesome. Yes, he is huge. T-Rock. Actually, I think she used to be a she. I don't quote me on that. I don't remember. Ron is infamous for not giving us many female dragons lately, but I think Troxul was a girl. But maybe not, because the new model is very masculine. So maybe I'm misremembering. Deathsleep was a girl, I want to say. Shake it well and you should be able to get away with one thick coat straight out of the bottle, Strange, and then you might have to do a touch-up on a couple of colors that might be a little less so. If you want it to stick to the model better, I recommend washing the models with dish soap and hot water first and letting them dry overnight. Almost done. Just 2 little braids. Oh, wait. 3 little braids. Maybe 4. We didn't get any of those. And that's for non-metal. Now, some colors are going to just cover with one coat. But for metallic, put down a high coverage brown or dark gray or black. And then put the metal over the top. And you'll get better coverage that way. Alrighty, let's see here. Now I have to ask myself what the best... This is the time where you contort, right? You're like, what is the best hand position for these little braids that are stuck in the back here? Gotta get my little bit more water in my paint because it was wanting not to come off my brush there. And we are at 4, so it is almost time to give Kiri her afternoon walk. So I'm going to finish these little braids and then we will call it for the day. But thanks for showing up, everybody. Let me just finish these guys. So I'm going to have to turn around so as not to contort my hand. And try to do this kind of in reverse. Upside down. Upside down in reverse. And then try to get it way back in there. It's difficult. It is not easy. But it also is kind of hidden. So it's like, well, it's not perfect. It's probably okay. But part of me is like, I want to kind of go straight in. A little bit. There we go. It's a little better. Then we can go and get this one. And that is that one. And that one looks like it needs a bit of a shadow, actually. There we are. And that one needs to wrap up a little bit more. There we go. Sweet. All right. Yay! Cord. Now I need to go in and just make sure that it looks like I've got highlighting and shading. What I do after this point, guys... Yeah, it is a little bit more difficult painting for the camera, isn't it? Oh, yeah. Yeah, once you're under magnification, you can see those flaws really easily, Strange. So what I'll do, guys, this is having done all this freehand work. There is still shading and highlighting to be done. So what I will do is do that with glazes. I will try to glaze just a little bit more shadow where I want it. For example, if the light is falling like straight down back here, then I want, or if I want to have a cast shadow from her hair, then I'll probably put her under a strong light and see where that shadow falls. Leave it pale on either side and glaze a shadow over this. And if I want it a little bit pinpoint of highlights, then I'm going to use a very strong white, maybe even a tube paint white, and get like little tiny dots, or I'll just use a much more full strength white than I used here, because this is quite thin. So if I go at it with a much stronger white, I can put little tiny dots at the center of each of these braids to make them look three-dimensional. Yeah. Have a good time, guys. Have a good time. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap it and let the Kiwi dog out. I'll see y'all tomorrow morning on the Reaper. I don't know if I'm gonna work on Fire Giant still. I kind of feel like I wanna. But we'll see. We'll see what the mood is tomorrow. What I want to do. So I hope you guys have a great day, and we will see you. I'll be doing this tomorrow afternoon. Also, we'll see what I feel like. Yes, you guys take care too. Have a great evening, or morning, or afternoon, or night. See you tomorrow.